Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gray Area. I am Mr. Bennett, ADS member, proud of it, and 7B president. And I'm joined always by my partner in hopefully not so many crimes, but my partner grooming and reviews, aka the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Paniotis. Galapagos, and Ya Posise.
Καλά. Λίγο προπόνηση βλέπω.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. But
Little
I'm
practice,
Ekala
but we'll get you
also.
there. We'll get you.
I'm
Like
Emma.
it's not bad, not
I'm
bad.
Emakala. So doing well, doing well. How you doing
Yeah,
tonight? How was your day today?
long.
Same here. Same here. But this is actually I did my first long cut of the year, so this is my cardio. I don't do any cardio in the spring and summer. I do all my mowing. I have a regular push mower. I don't have a self-propelled. It's a regular push mower. I put about an hour, hour and a half out there, about 3 days a week, especially now because the grass grows so fast. And so this is how I get my cardio conditioning. And if I really want to up it, I'll put like a weighted vest on. I'll put like 40, 50 pounds weight vest
Jeez.
on, and I'll do that for an hour also. And that drives the heart rate up. You don't feel it initially, but then when you check your heart rate, you're really working overtime. But that's if I really want to amp it up and make it more intense. So it's good to
Are
get
we
out
talking about the
there.
old school spinning ones that is no
No, not the
motor?
old. No, it's a powered motor. It's a gas
Okay,
mower, but it's not the self propelled. So
okay,
I do all the I
pushing.
do all the pushing, but no, I don't do anything to make it easier. So I just did a little maintenance on it, sharpen the blades, just got it ready and started up like a charm. So yeah. So first cut of the year, and usually, like I said, 2 or 3 days a week. When it really gets hot, I like getting out there when it's like 90.
Hmm.
I put the headband on, and I just I'll burn 800 to 1,000 calories just doing that for an hour. So I'm like, why do I need to pay anybody to cut my grass? If I
Good
can,
point.
save that extra $50, that's like $200 a month. So why should I pay someone to do that? And then I'm getting the cardio benefit from it. I'm getting exercise out of it. So hey, I get a 2-for-1 benefit for it. So it's a good trade off.
You have a good point there. Like you can, knock it out one, one, two, three. I'm saying.
Yeah. And like I said, if I really wanted to said I put that vest on. Sometimes I'll do
Hmm.
20. Sometimes I've done 50. I haven't done. One time I was going to do 90 just to see how long it would last before I
Oh yeah,
passed
that's
out, but
pushing it.
I didn't want to get a stroke out there. So I said
Yeah, I think
I
your
better
wife might
hold
kill
off.
you for that one.
I better hold off. But the vest is nice. I can certainly take advantage of
I
that.
used to use the vest on a treadmill actually back in the day. I used to get my
Yeah,
own vest. I
exactly.
used to put in
Yeah,
my locker.
yeah,
I got tired carrying the goddamn thing around. It gets heavy
yeah.
after a while.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about my vest, I can load it, so it has like you actually put real plates on it, so I
Mhm.
can take it up and down wherever I want to. It's got like a bar
Oh,
where you
nice.
slide the plates on and off, so I can make it anything I want pretty much. It's not like the bags, like the bags of sand that you put in the vest, you take them out and whatnot. I just wanted something a little more accurate, so the vest definitely works out very well. And
No, let's talk about coach. Well, I want to see what he thinks. Maybe do me doing 20 minutes of that every day. Like that might burn some calories like crazy.
yeah, I mean, you'll definitely, like I said, you won't necessarily feel it, because
Yeah, that's
again,
what I
you're
like.
walking, so it's not like it's high impact,
Hmm.
and you figure um, but your heart rate, like I said, like I have like a continuous heart rate monitor, so I'm checking it. It's like 140, 135,
Yeah,
140,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
continuous like the whole time. And my max rate, I think at this point, it's like 150, 157 right now for my age. It's about my maximum heart rate. So I try to not exceed it too much or save that for the strength training. But definitely, it's something that allows me to again just get that extra, just to get that extra work in, and
The
so
one I did
definitely another benefit.
once a while back. I never did it before after that because I just don't have time to be honest with you because it is a little bit of a process. Is sauna suit.
Mm,
Oh man, you're gonna sweat your ass in that damn thing.
yeah, yeah, I can imagine that because that's like a major uh, you know,
Sweat
like
bag.
a major wear. Yeah. And me, I was
Dude,
like,
I remember trying to take that off. And I struggled, and the guy helped me. It was like a little, you hear a splash, all that sweat coming out of that bag. I'm like,
exactly.
God damn, I didn't expect it to be that much.
Yeah. I think
Like
it
a
would
water
probably
balloon.
bother me a little bit because again, you're basically you're sitting there, right? For the time that you have it on, or you what are you doing? You're doing activity.
I was working out the whole time with it on.
Oh, so you had the sweatsuit in. Are you working? Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
actually
I put
he actually had one. He offered it to me. I said, "No." I think I turned him down, but he had one I think he might have used maybe 1 or 2 times.
who's this?
He- He's like, "Did you want to use this?" A friend of mine who
Oh, okay.
so he got the bodysuit and everything, and I was like, "No, that you
Not
know,
too much for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah." But being outside and whatnot, I think that really that also doing when you're actually doing something, but just to be
And
just
also, like,
never I
this
was
is
going to a sauna.
yeah,
Like,
this is the grooming part of me though. Also, going out and being getting the B12 vitamins that you need more than anything.
yeah.
It's gonna help out your skin, and you obviously you don't have to worry about the hair part of the beard. But for the beard, B12 is the greatest thing you can have.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, it does wonderful wonders for the beard, and that's why I take B12 all year round because we
yeah,
don't get enough of it.
yeah.
Even because I work through a whole year, I'm not one of the guys who get the summer off. I don't get that privilege, believe me.
Mhm.
So I'm in the kitchen all day long, so I
Yeah,
don't really. By the time I get off, it's like this. It's dark already. Like I
exactly.
don't get a chance to enjoy it all, and it sucks.
Right. Right, right. Awesome. Well, again, thank you everyone for again joining us on a Sunday evening. We know time be it what it is, people getting ready for work tomorrow. So
Mhm.
we appreciate you guys stopping on through. Again, just checking the chat. You have Stacy B79. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, as always. We also have Smitty's Corner. Thank you for also for coming in tonight. Appreciate you being here tonight. And again, for those of you who've joined us, again, you can see scrolling at the bottom our cash apps. If you find this content of use, certainly we would appreciate anything that you offer us in our cash apps. But even more importantly, support the network. The BMU network platform is what enables us to do this. We have again content for I think all 7 days of the week. I mean, there was shows on last night. There was I think Alexis Texas. She had a show. Shout out to her. She was on the show last night. And so pretty much 7 days a week of content that we have on the shows here. And so really, if you support what Black Men Unfiltered is doing, certainly send a cash app. It doesn't go to us, but it supports the network, and certainly that would be greatly appreciated as well. But I want to get into this topic tonight, and Peter, you may be driving this, so just to kind of give a little summary of what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Again, the whole purpose of the gray area is to again find mutual understanding through cultural exchange. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about what does it mean for when you go back to Greece. How has the country changed from your perspective since you've been there? It's been a number of years. And what are you seeing in Greece now in terms of how the people are and their opinions and their attitudes and just the general layout of the of the country, the changes that you've seen there. Last week's show, we dealt with the idea of Americanization. So here, as a Greek immigrant or any immigrant of that matter, when you lived in America for a while, when you raised children in the country over time, how have you changed? Especially when you go back home, or when or when relatives visit you from the old country, so to speak. How are you? Um, how do you now being exposed to American culture and American values? How has that shaped you since you've been in America? You've been acclimated in America for a number of years. How has that shaped and changed you? What is the difference, for example, between people native to Greece and Greek Americans? How do they differ? And what are some of the reactions and opinions people may have of you now that you've been Americanized, if that certainly applies to you? But I think
I'm glad you
today
asked
we're
this
gonna
question.
yeah,
I'm really
go
am
ahead.
glad you asked this question because that
Yeah.
that is a good question to ask. When I first went back to Greece the very first time, I was a
Mhm.
punk. Meaning, I got into the culture. Obviously, I was into the rap music. As much as I was into rap, I was more into metal. I was
Mhm.
always big in metal, even back when I was younger in Greece. But I was really hardcore into it. I started getting into really getting really hardcore martial arts. I really got into football at the time, getting into Pokemon, gaming, all this stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, if you remember the '90s were the Generation X
Yeah.
style. If you remember,
Yeah.
people were punks and like they're tough. Everybody was saying, "I'm a tough guy." Yo, what? Again, the chest
Yeah.
puffed up and everything.
Right.
That's what they got. literally, and like I remember some kids were just we're at the movies, me and my buddy, and they're throwing popcorn. Oh, my earrings came out, my chain came out. I was about to jump over the seats and kick their goddamn ass. My friends go, "What are you doing, dude?" And I'm like, this is normal here. Like, normal. I paid for this movie. You're not throwing popcorn on my ass.
Mm.
I'm like, but again, the kids joke around like that there. So I had to understand that. I was a punk. When I say I was a punk, my name should be literally, next to the picture of my face, next to that my name, my picture next to the definition of
Right.
what a punk
Right.
means. I was a completely, but I also was an outcast at the same time.
Hmm.
Not by my culture, not I was outcast. Like I like tattoos, I like long hair, I like beards, I
Hmm.
liked everything that Greeks are the opposite from.
Hmm.
Okay, except the hair part, because all Greeks usually at one point grow their hair out. But with the tattoos, like you're getting tattoos. I had my first 3 tattoos when I went there. I had my cross,
Hmm.
if you can see it. I had
Right.
my Greek flag, oh, and I had
Yep.
my Japanese flag. All 3 of those
Gotcha.
already on my body at the time when I went to Greece.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and go, "You got tattoos?" I'm like, "This is my second trip, by the way."
Yeah.
I went since I moved here. I was like, "Yeah, what's the big deal about it?" I'm like, "We don't only prisoners get tattooed." Like, come on, who
Oh,
the hell
really?
is that bullshit? Yeah,
Wow.
only prisoners and people who sail on boats.
Right.
Like, who did that bullshit? I'm like, and I had the long chain and everything.
Hmm.
You remember the chains that was down here at one point? People used to wear back in the 90s, like 2000, like, they look at me like, why are you wearing chains so long? I'm like, baggy pants. I remember going to baggy pants. Look at me like, the first thing I said, my priest goes to me, he goes, Panayoti, pull your goddamn pants up. Literally like that, too. He goes,
Oh,
like,
you had the dropping pants too. You had the saggy
oh,
pants.
God, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, you weren't
I'm
showing a
like,
crack. You weren't showing a booty crack, were you?
no, I wasn't showing that. That's
Okay.
one thing I was really good about. I did not show, any, I don't make anybody happy seeing my ass. And, I always say, I'll tell you, like, everybody below the truth. I tell people to kiss my shiny, hairy Greek ass. Yes, it's
Oh
shiny
geez.
and hairy. You don't want to do it. If you're looking how to see pictures, contact BMU, he has
Right.
on his OF.
Right.
But anyway, on the topic, I got my pants were up. I went to, what are you talking about, father? And he goes, but you can put 5 people in there. What are you talking about? Like, oh, or you're
Right.
freaking a sailor, or you're trying to collect potatoes. He goes to me. I'm like, this is the style back in the United. Like, oh, he started praying right
Oh
there. I'm
man.
like, oh my god. I'm like, and his name was Panayoti too. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't see the problem, father. I was always unique in my culture because I
Right.
like different stuff. Like people went out, having like when they order food, like they I love ouzo. I'm like, I want a beer.
Mhm.
I want a cold American old school lager. Give me a nice yin yang lager. I'm happy.
Right.
Give me a
Right.
burger. Oh, okay, gyro. You can't go wrong with gyro.
Right.
But you get the point I'm trying to get. I was unique,
Right.
and
So
that's
this
why.
is
Go
so
ahead.
getting into I guess so now we're starting to dial a little bit more deeper, more personal. So again, so we talked about going back to the old country, Americanization, or as again, Joshua Jones, again, thank you for joining us tonight. Also assimilation into American culture. Now we're getting more to um Panayotis, the person.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we're talking about the black wolf, and I'm assuming this is kind of similar to the black sheep, if I can
Pretty much.
use that inference there. So the black
Yep,
sheep of the
it's
family, or
similar. Yeah,
the
I'll
black
tell you
wolf of the
what's the
family.
difference.
Yeah.
A sheep
So
is somebody who gets curled up and hides. I didn't hide. I fought myself to it,
right,
like a
right.
soldier. Think of it. That's why I
Right. So
say
you
black
weren't
wolf.
right. So you weren't choosing to necessarily to be ostracized or put in a corner, or whatever. You fought back,
Correct.
and you. So we're going to be talking about that. So how do you do that? So especially in a culture that is as rich as yours, that has the traditions that it has. You have the church. You have all sorts of influences there. So again, part of tonight's conversation is again how have you been able to overcome that? And I may share some of my perspective also, because I wouldn't call myself the black sheep, but I was definitely uh not like other kids. I think both of us, certainly we have a shared, I think we're both kind of nerdish in a lot of respects. We have a
Mhm.
lot of interests that may not be necessarily what other kids were doing. And so how do you push back against that, and how do you stand up to that? So that's going to be a major portion of our conversation. So in spite of the cultures which we belong to, and that we are proud to be a part of, that we to be associated with, they're still, at the end of the day, we're still individuals. and we've been able to find our individual identities, and then how do you then harmonize all that together, where you're still Greek, you're still you're still American, but at the end of the day you're Peter at the end of the day. And how does Peter, how was Peter able to find himself and still happily coexist with the larger cultural milieu that you come from? So that's going to be part of the conversation tonight. So again, looking forward to what this conversation may yield. But where do you want to start with that? Where did Peter start? Where did the Black Wolf? Where did it
High
so
school.
talked about when the Black Wolf was a pup.
It
So let's
started in
start
high
with you
school
as a pup.
into junior. It started a little bit in junior and really started coming out in high school. So I remember my first year was sixth grade was horrible for me because you won't call it bullying.
Yeah, that was also the transition. That was the year you came back. So again,
Yep.
for those who haven't been following us up to this point, you came back to the U.S. after many years in Greece. You come back to the U.S. You're already at disadvantage because you have what was labeled maybe incorrectly as some learning disabilities, because the fact that you grew up in America and Greece and you never quite solidified in either one. There were some issues that at least the way people judged you, there was some difficulties there. So you come here, you're starting in sixth grade, and that's where it starts for you here to try to carve out to this niche for yourself. Also want to give a shout out, Embrace the Grace. Thank you so much for dropping by tonight. We appreciate you being here, and appreciate you being part of this conversation. So again, so we're going to start this where the gray wolf sort of the black wolf originated, sixth grade. Okay, so let's talk about what were some of the challenges. Let's talk about some of the things that were going on. So you can just take it from here, and I'll chime in where I feel
Yeah.
appropriate.
So I remember I was unique, dressed different. I wasn't dressed in the baggy pants. I still had the old school, high part, old classic cut. Back then wasn't popular like that is now again. And even my parents was like a lot of pushback. Like, like I couldn't pick up a certain clothes. You had to do this. You got to do that. Like most Greeks, I go, I'm getting tired of this shit. I'm getting old enough to do what I want. And that's the mindset I had. And I remember what really cracked for me was two incidents. One, when my head got put through a goddamn, desk. A kid, was talking to me. We're just, I remember what he said. It was been so many years. And next thing I know, he took my head from my back behind me and plowed my head right through the desk. I'm not gonna deny it. I kicked him right back. I went literally side kicked him to the jaw, split his lip right open. You gonna put my head through it? I'm gonna defend myself. The second one, when somebody hit me, swing the bag, because I was unique and cracked my head open with a locker. I didn't hit her because she's a female. Why? Because I'm unique. I was walking literally down the hall. Nobody stopped me saying, "Hey, dude, you're bleeding." Except one teacher goes, you're bleeding, right?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I went like that. I'm like, okay, now I'm in shock. Next time I'm getting rushed to the nurse, and they grab me and you find out who did it. My mom's freaking out because she's in Greece right now. Because my grandma was not really healthy at the moment. She was getting in critical condition. Didn't pass, but she had to go take care of business. My dad was in New York City working. I was living in Long Island at the time. I'm like, okay, so we
Who were
have
you living with?
my parents, both my parents.
No, you said your mom was in Greece.
Yes.
And your dad was
He was in a city. He was he was a cab driver. So he was in
Okay,
a
so you're
city.
saying at the time that the event happened, but still, for the most part, you were living with your parents at the time.
Yeah, I was living in
Okay.
Long Island, not
Gotcha,
in
gotcha.
New York, in Astoria
Gotcha. Yep.
at the moment. And my head was, crack open like it was the problem. So our best friend took me like, "What the hell happened to you?" We go like, and they looked at her like, "Yeah, he cannot force sleep a few hours, like just in case he has a trauma there." And I'm like, "Excuse me," like she doesn't know what to do. She's freaking out.
Right.
Like the second incident, was like they finally figured out my disability. They put me in special ed. That's the best solution they had. And they couldn't diagnose it, but they figured, let's put him in special ed. He's stupid, pretty much. And I remember same concept. They were picking on me and all that stuff. Like, and my parents always told me, don't fight back, because you fight back, you're going to get punished 10 times worse. Try to hold back.
Is that a common? Not to cut you off. Actually, one thing, if I can ask you to do again,
Mm.
can you drop your camera just a tad? Because I know you like to show off the beautiful beard that you have, and so that there you go.
There you go.
Now we can see the full beard. We can see we can now I
You
can
know what
even
it
see
is?
your
I have to
now I can see your
remember
Greek
then
tattoo as
readjusting it
well.
from my show last night. I have adjusted a different angle.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, and I keep forgetting to change it. I gotta
Right,
put
not a
it a
problem,
sticky
not a
note
problem,
somewhere.
not a problem. So you were saying that okay, so you're getting this you're getting this bullying. You have this now. Oh, question I want to ask is: your parents were like, "Don't fight back." Is that typical in a Greek family? In terms of not fighting back or teaching the kids, when it comes to if someone's bullying you, is that something that's typical, or is it the fact that maybe your parents, the fact that you're in America, you're basically immigrants in America, and maybe the attitude being in America might be a little bit different if you were in Greece in terms of how they would tell you to handle situation if someone's assaulting you or bullying you or whatever. Is that typical, or that was just in your particular situation? Your parents were speaking into how you should handle it.
I think they're trying to guide me the best they could.
Mm,
Um, my dad didn't really finish school, so he didn't know boys gonna be boys. They're gonna fight no matter what.
mhm.
If
Okay.
you're gonna
Right.
fight eventually. You're gonna get in a
Mhm.
fight. You're gonna get a
Right.
scuffle a little bit. But I think they try to give me the best advice because of my martial arts background.
Mhm.
Didn't want to get whatever trouble I got into not as bad. Make it
Mhm.
walking away is better. Talking to my instructor at the time, he gave me the best advice he could. Like, listen, the rules are simple. He goes, they put your hands on you first, you strike back,
Right.
no matter what. If they'll put your hands on you, you don't put hands on. Simple.
Mhm.
Because at that point, it's called self-defense. And that's
Correct.
what your mom calls me, and I handle business then. He goes,
Mhm. Right. Right.
okay. So same thing through all that. And he got to the point, like I didn't at the time I didn't know what it meant in my defense. My mental health was not getting good. It was getting pretty tanked.
Mhm.
Getting verbally abused every day, making fun of. I mean, it's super common, like
Like
shit. I
what?
was
What was some of the verbal abuse? What were some of the things that they were saying?
I was stupid. I was
Mhm.
called every gay slang you can think of. I don't
Mhm.
want to use them because I
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
get
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
striked.
Yeah.
And I can go on and on.
Right.
Like,
Any ethnic, the fact that you were Greek, were you
oh god,
getting
oh
mm,
yeah. They told me at one point I don't believe in Jesus. I believe in the gods. I'm like, have you done your
because you're from
history?
Greece, so they think you're into
Yeah.
Greek mythology, right?
Yeah, he says that's the only thing they believe in. We sacrifice people. I'm like, okay.
Oh, man.
And like I was getting pissed off at that point. Like, do your homework before you open your mouth,
Mm,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So that the worst day for me was when my mental health took a dump. And again, I didn't know what mental health was. This is the point where I was forced to see a therapist, and
Mhm.
the point I didn't know why I was saying. I was like, man, I was dead, and it was red flags for every teacher in that room.
Yeah.
They were like, they said, "Excuse me," I'm like, "What?" I was like, "I wish I was dead." I was like, "I'm having," like, they knew I was having a bad day too.
Mhm.
And next thing I know, like, some of the not teachers, what are they called, casual therapists. I'm not sure
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
They said, let's have a talk. Let's want to talk in the back of the room. We can go for a walk. You want to go to our office? Like, about neither. I don't want to talk. I just want to be left alone. I'm having a bad day.
Mhm.
Sometimes talking is not the greatest thing to do when you're pissed off to the world.
Right. Right.
It was not really a choice. They told me like you have three options. You can take a walk, go back in the room, or go to our office. Those are the three options. Me being, me again being a smart ass, like option four, leave me the fuck alone. I went to him.
Mm,
And they go to me, no, you need to get up now. We're gonna have a conversation.
yeah.
And then one became two. And next thing I knew, they are saying we're taking you home in our car. We need to speak to your parents. I'm like, seriously? It's not that serious. I'm just having a bad day. That's what I thought.
Mhm.
So explaining to my parent, like, now I was suspended till I see another therapist
Right.
to clear me to get back to school. I'm
Mhm.
like, are you that serious? Like, it's not that serious. Like, it's serious. I got on a phone call, got in there the same day. My mom doesn't speak. I had to take care of everything, like always.
Mhm.
And they were like, why don't you take care of this? Not your parents. Like, he doesn't speak English. I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense. And she shows up and she asks me all these weird questions, like, do you pee the bed? I'm like, no. Do you
Mhm.
burn the bed? I'm like, why would I burn my own bed?
Mhm. Right.
Like stuff like that makes no sense. And she's going on and got more details. She goes, honestly, you're just having a bad day. I'm not. I'm gonna let you back go to school. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
They only say that to my parent, like, you need to let him express himself.
Mhm.
He's gonna hold that up and he's gonna explode.
Mhm.
So they finally agreed on it. So I remember going to Hot Topic.
Yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I pick Hot Topic. I pick Hot Topic to get my my clothes from there.
Right,
I bought the most baggiest pants you can think of.
right.
Do you remember those old pants? What was it? MC Hammer used to wear when he came out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you know how
Yeah,
baggy they were.
the flappers, yeah.
Yeah, bigger than that. And my mom whipped my ass so fucking hard. I'm like, yeah, I gotta take those back. The guy looked at me. He goes, "Your palm?" Oh, yep. My mom did the exact same thing. She whipped my ass.
Mm,
I didn't even say anything to me. My ass guy. He goes, my mom whipped my ass. He goes, let me help you out, kid. And he felt bad because I really liked those pants.
mm,
So that's where I start transitioning to my own person.
mhm,
Now in high school, I finally becoming who I want to be.
mhm,
Be not public, but I have friends now. People coming over hanging out with me. People wanted to spend time with me. Like people who didn't like me actually like me now. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
mhm,
And people who would like me backstab me now. People because I made friends.
mhm.
See, that's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But I think what may have attracted those people to you is, again, people are attracted to confidence. When you
Mhm.
start again, when you start to have a come to acceptance of who you were and started to embrace more of who you are, that will draw people to you. It will not draw everyone to you, but people can see that, hey, he's not the shy kid, he's not he's not the bullied kid or whatever. This guy's got this guy's got some swag. This guy's got some character to him. So so that oftentimes will attract people to you. You just hope that it's the right people that are going to be attracted to you. What was your friend circle looking like with these people who were coming? Did they have similar interests to you, or whether was there a common thread with the people who you were starting to make friends and build relationships with at the time?
Actually, the common thread was cars because I was just going to I think it's called Voltec now, but back then it was Bosie's. Yeah, he's Voltec now. So I was
Hmm.
working on cars, and everybody, all the guys are like, "Yo, you're in cars, dude? We don't know that." I'm like, "I love freaking cars. What are you guys
Hmm.
talking about? Like, this is my passion."
Right.
And next thing you know, I'm like, I have these friends. I'm like, what? We were all in a front of my driveway working on each other's cars, or
Mm,
I'm at his house working on his cars. Most times at my house because I had more property,
mm,
and it was just like this actually felt good. To actually have friends, and now I had a job. I have money to go out do whatever I want.
right.
I guess this is a life I want to, and I was always because I worked so hard. I always got the nice stuff. Like when the I-90 came out, the next sales that everybody wanted the I-95
Mm,
and bought it cash. I'm like, well, how'd you buy cash so easy? You put your credit card like simple. I like work as a restaurant. I make cash money. I don't
mm,
freaking get a check. I'm like, what that mean? Like people are making like only like $5, $6, $7 at McDonald's. Like, yeah, I make 400, 500 a night
right.
on a diner. I don't make that. Like I used to come dressed to go to work afterwards.
Right.
I was always in like nice dress clothes, and people were like, "Wow, you look good, actually." Like, I gotta go to work. This is not what like. And when I was not working, it's, wow, you still look nice. And like, I used to wear cologne. And it's like people said, "Why are you wearing cologne?" Like, because I want to. And next
Mm,
thing I know, girls are attracted to me. I'm like, she likes me. I'm like, I was like, now I was shy. I'm like, I'm hiding behind the behind everything. I'm like,
right.
I didn't understand that. And I remember my first girlfriend. I'm like, Cecilia. She was like a 10. I'm like, she likes me. And like, yeah, go talk to her. Like, what do I say to her? My friend Dominic goes to me. Here's the good one. Hi.
Mm,
Okay. Hi, Dominic. Where are you at? Like, no, dude, you idiot. Go say hi to her. And next thing I know, we're like, he changed numbers. We're talking, like, we're dating. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I'm not that strange, maybe. I thought I
right.
was a weird kid because I was
Right.
into, I was started getting into Star Wars. I
Hmm.
was getting into Gundam,
Hmm.
gunplay,
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like, people looked at me like, what is Gundam?
Hmm.
You're weird. I'm like, and I thought I was weird. I
Hmm.
didn't care.
Right.
I was okay with
Right.
it. And now people find out I'm listening to heavy metal, Metallica, Slipknot, because the only heavy metal they know about is Limp Bizkit. I mean, that's
Mhm.
not heavy metal, guys.
Mhm.
I'm like, Limp Bizkit is, I'm sorry, Limp Bizkit. Slipknot is heavy metal.
Mhm.
I'm like, and then I tell them, look, here, listen to this. And they go, oh, God, this gives a headache. No, no. I'm like, that was weird to them.
Mhm.
I'm like, why? I don't get it. Like, I was into comic books. I remember, between my classes, like, a lunch break or something, and if I have no friends in my lunch period, at first I didn't. I was reading comic books. And people were like, why are you reading that? That's kid stuff. Like, I like reading comic books. It works on my disability, and I like
Right.
reading it.
Right.
People says, you're freaking weird. I'm like, okay, I'm weird. Thank you. I took that as a compliment, and I used that as motivation.
Mhm.
I grew from that. I'm like, I knew people outside school from different districts, like they were into the same things with me. We used
Mhm.
to go to freaking Toys R Us and play Pokemon cards
Right.
when they had the leagues, and people were like, you really do that? Like, yeah, why not? It's fun as hell. I'm like, you're weird. I'm like, okay, thanks. Bye. Now weird is a good thing. They take it
Mhm.
as a compliment if you want to call you weird or a geek. Back then, you were in a unique stuff. Like I remember when I grew, it was my first facial hair was coming in. And like, why do you have that on your face? And like because I like facial hair. I don't like how my face looks. I'm like, no, nobody's gonna like you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
guess things
But
have changed so much.
right. But at this point, but the point where you went from maybe I wouldn't say caring about what people thought to not caring what people thought. Again, I guess what I'm looking for is I guess that pivotal moment in your life where again you became comfortable with being uncomfortable or not being uncomfortable but not being uncomfortable with what people thought about you maybe again and it's natural like you're the new kid, you're from Greece or whatever, you're trying to assimilate the best you can, it's not necessarily working out the way you would have hoped for, but you get to a point where you not caring somehow starts to endear you to other people, and there's something about something about that people start to find, yeah, he's different, but he's himself. And that seems to, that, I'm kind of going somewhere with this because I think for a lot of people, again, a lot of us who, if you experience bullying when you were in high school or when you were in college or whatever the, grade school, wherever it was, for the longest time, people always try to fit in with we have the in crowds, we have the group think mentality, and the ones who were a bit different, they were ostracized. Now back in the 80s and 90s, you also had the again you talk about the grunge era, you also have the goth era, a lot of people did the goth thing or whatever, and you just thought that people were just just different different that way, but you got to a point where you started to embrace the things that the things that you were interested in, and it doesn't help that you start making money. Now you're making money, you're dressing differently, you're just being coming into yourself, and I think people start to take notice of that. So I'm really trying to just hunker in on, like, that when the light switch went on. And was that with the counselor when she told your parents basically just let him express himself? Was that really, you would say, the moment where that really started to happen, where you really started to say, okay, this is
Okay,
this
yeah, that
is
was the beginning. That was the beginning of the
yeah.
end. I can remember doing that, getting my own clothes. Then I wanted my ear pierced. My mom looked at me like, "Oh God!" I'm like, "How do I explain to your father?" I'm like, "What do you
Right,
mean?
because
Like,
Greek
we're just
Greek Greek men typically don't get piercings or a certain
yeah."
amount of
We
earrings or whatever.
literally
Right.
went to the store, the mall, got my ear pierced. As he goes, "Your father's gonna kill me," I'm like, "Eh, oh well." And I was like, "Yeah, oh well." And
Mm,
like, he came home, like, look at me, like, "What the fuck's in your ear?" I go,
mm,
"Earring?" Like, "Excuse me." My mom goes, "John, listen, that's my father's name. They're a dog." And listen, remember we talked about this? Like, where was I? He goes, "Well, you didn't answer your phone, so I had to talk for you.
Mm.
So
Okay, so he
I
was a
got
part of that conversation.
yeah. So the biggest part for me being like I was to your answer, like when I say I am finally accepting who I am and becoming who I am,
Hmm.
it was between 10th and 11th grade.
Hmm.
Then it was another transition out of
Okay.
high school. And then I went from the baggy clothes, like I looked like an idiot wearing all these clothes. I was thinking to myself,
Hmm.
I need to wear something more appropriate. So I remember buying my first couple clothes from American Eagle. Why
Okay.
American Eagle? Don't know. Just pick that store.
Hmm.
Um, that was one transition. Then it was another transition after college, like working, paying bills. Like, oh, this is what an adult does. I can't spend my money whenever I want. Like, no, you have to pay bills. Believe it or not, more
Hmm.
you make, more they take.
Yeah.
And like, and I had to do another transition. The final transition probably was early 2010s, I want to say.
Okay.
That was where I was finally like, okay, I made it who I am. I'm very comfortable. I'm like, you don't like me? You can kiss my shiny Greek ass. I used to tell people.
I thought it was
Like,
Harry, but okay.
I say Harry, shiny Greek hairy ass. Let's get it right.
I could be Harry. Well, I'm not. I'm not going there with you.
Yeah, you
Good.
really want to go there? I will
No, I
go there if
don't.
you
No, I
want.
don't. Keep moving. Keep
Okay, let's keep
conversation going.
moving. Right. But that's my point. I keep moving. That was thank you for saying that because I keep moving. I didn't stop. I keep moving. And the confidence was building and building and building
Hmm.
and building
Hmm.
to the point like you got the man who you so and somebody said to me, one day, not Greek. It was my buddy CQ.
Hmm.
And he goes to me, he was just joking around. He goes, you kind of became a Spartan now of some of these years. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, and we start talking back. I don't know the whole conversation. He goes,
Hmm.
and that's where my nickname came from. He goes, Sparta.
Hmm.
And he goes, I'm like, yeah, you have a good point there. And he have this conversation, like, dude, you have changed so much over the years. You
Hmm.
go see a therapist now. You do this, you do that. You take care of your mom. How many men do that? I'm
Hmm.
like, what are you talking about? Like, what am I talking about? You became a respectful man. Most people are out there doing drugs, stealing, doing this and doing that. You don't do none of that stuff. You earn everything. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess you're right, man. Like most people, I remember when I was, out of high school, they're getting fucked up on all these drugs. Most of them are like 5 or 6 baby daddies. By the time they hit 25, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm unique. Maybe I'm whatever. I still don't have a
Hmm.
kid. I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
I'm going to have a kid eventually.
Hmm.
Something is going to crack. I'm going to meet somebody.
Right. Right.
But my point is,
I can. Yeah.
go
I
ahead.
can appreciate some of what you're saying because again, I had coming from again my parents yeah, they had split, but basically after shortly after my birth they were split. I was born in '69, and they by 1970 they were gone. So I lived with my mom until I was about 13, and we were kind of like gypsies to an extent because she had a lot of mental problems,
Hmm.
and we would literally go from house. Now, there's a backstory there because again, when my parents came up, they did a lot for a lot of people because they helped people get planted here. A lot of all my parents came from the South, and again, my dad he bought a big house from he had the GI Bill, he had the FHA. He bought this big multifamily unit, and a lot of my relatives would move up here, live with my parents for a while, and then they would get their own places. So that was a thing for like a long time. So they were very instrumental in helping a lot of my relatives and even friends of theirs get started, get planted. They found jobs, like I said, at Ford, GM plants, different jobs in the area, and then they established on their own. Now, my mom, she was able to cash some of that in, and so growing up, we would actually stay with different people. So it's like, hey, we took care of you, so it's like, I need a place now, whatnot. Where we're split, where the family split up or whatnot. Hey, we need a place to stay, so we would stay with people for a while. They would take us in, due to what my mom and dad, for that matter, did for them back in the day. So I traveled a lot, still within New Jersey. For a while, We moved back down south. I was there for like maybe a couple years in the south when I was in. This is even before school. By the time I came back up, it was I started like first and second grade. I was already back up here. But when I was really young, we spent some time in the south. But we were just nomads, so I would change schools like constantly. So trying to establish roots in the place, it was very difficult for me to have any strong roots of connections because I was always switching schools depending on and it would usually happen. My mom, she would have an episode, or it would just be become where we become a burden to the family that we were living with. She couldn't really hold a job for long periods of time, so we would be out and then we would go to another place. And so, so we had these periods. So I might be in a place for a year. I might be in a place for, I think when I was younger, the longest place I was in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I think we were there for 5 years. That was like the longest stint that I had in any place. That was from grades 3 to 8, where I was in Elizabeth. And then high school, I probably bounced to like between ninth grade alone. I probably went to 3 different schools within the calendar year. So it was really tough trying to get those connections down because you were always meeting new people. I was very nerdy. I was always kind of book smart in that sense. Like I had a lot of interest in things that a lot of kids did. Like I had an interest in science. My mom, she had bought me these. Back then we had these encyclopedias, so she bought me this World Book encyclopedia set, and I think I read every one of them multiple times, like from cover to cover. So I always had interest in science and facts. I was almost like the computer kid. Like I could name you like the top 10 longest rivers in the world. I can name the top 10 most populous countries in the world, the galaxies, the stars. I knew the diameter of every planet. I knew how far the planets were from the sun. I knew all this, astronomy type stuff. So I was just this kind of quirky, knowledge fat kid, and I just didn't fit in, especially with black kids, especially. You were, that being sort of nerdy book smart wasn't something that a lot of kids, uh, um, unfortunately, they didn't, appreciate. They said, "Oh, you were acting white, or you were just being, you're very bookish, you're acting white, or whatever. You're not cool." And back then, cool was sort of like everything. Back then, but those were things I just had a natural affinity for. And like you, again, big comic book reader, big into fantasy genres. At the time, Star Wars, Star Trek. I was into just a lot of things that some kids may be into certain things, but not into all the things that I was into. I wasn't very athletic. So again, sports, I was like the worst basketball player. I was the worst volleyball player. I was the worst baseball player. You hit a ball to me, I'm playing second base. You hit a baseball to me, it's going through my mitt, you know, or pick up the ball and I'm going to throw it and it's going to sail over the guy's head or whatever. I was just never the greatest athlete. So I had no athletic ability. I did have a little bit of book smarts. I was very skinny, very, very puny for my of size. And that was the case really up until college. And so a lot of those things led to some of the things that you were talking about. Again, the bullying, being called the effeminate names. I was also, the fact that I lived with my mom the majority of that time, I was also very emotional at that time. So again, I would cry easily. Like, so again, the one thing they say you shouldn't do as a kid, you should be crying. Someone's bullying you, whatever, fight back or do something, but don't cry. I would cry when folks would bully me or call me names or pick on me or whatever. I would just break down, and that just exacerbated the issue. So I had a lot of problems trying to overcome that where I was placed. If there was a basketball game we played, I was the last player picked because I just didn't have anything. So, oh, well, we need 10 players. He's the 10th player. Whoever picks him, oh man, I gotta have Paul on my team. I mean, it was like, and they would literally say that. It's like, oh man, we gotta take him. No, let's watch with some other guy, or whatever. So it was just a lot of things I just didn't uh, have that made me popular with a lot of people. And so, but I did always have a niche. I always had one thing I would say was good. I always found somebody. He was a buddy of mine. Again, very similar interests. He could be a white guy. He could be Indian. He could be, anything. But we always kind of, always had somebody who we were always kind of in the same club. We were always, and all the times we were treated the same way. But a lot of times when you're being bullied, it's a lot better to be bullied as a group than it is to be bullied as an individual. So it's like we always kind of leaned on each other when it came to that kind of behavior. But that for me, that took place all the way, for the most part, through high school. I did make it on my high school basketball team, but that was like a mercy thing. That was like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Rudy. Um,
Yeah.
I was Rudy. Okay, it was like, okay, we'll give him a pot. I went out for the team my junior year, and I got cut. I didn't make the team, but they allowed me to. I was the game scorer. So you would go to away games. You have to keep the scores of the games. You were I was the team statistician. So I would keep the scores and whatnot. So I got the chance to travel to all the games. I wrote the best. I hung out with the players. I did everything. I was
Mhm.
literally. I was like, I just want to be a part of this team. I don't care. I'll sweep the floors. I'll mop the floor. I'll do whatever you want. Just let me be part of it. So of course, said, okay, fine. You could be the team statistician. Then senior year, again, it was like, he could have cut me. He had no reason to keep me on the team, but he did. And the biggest thing was when I actually got in the game, when I actually scored, because I would always come in like a garbage time. Either we were getting blown out or we were blowing somebody out. Okay, so it's 5 minutes left in the game. Fine, the scrubs, as we recall, scrubs, we get in the game and we close out the game. So there were games where I would score like 2 points, 4 points. I was feeling good about that because my name actually got in the paper. Back then, you would actually put the scores, your local
Yeah, I
county
remember that.
paper. They put the box score in the in the newspaper. And I remember my brother coming out and he taking the clip, saying, "Yo, you got the paper." So here it is. P. Bennett 2 points or P. Bennett 4 points in the game. I was like, I didn't care. I was like, look, I made the high school, I made the local paper. So it's like, hey, that was no, that was a great thing. But again, that continued pretty much all the way through college. Now, college, it started to turn around a little bit because I started getting involved in different organizations. There was an organization, 100 Black Men at Rutgers University, that was really instrumental. It was like the closest thing to like a fraternal organization I could have joined. And really, I found some guys who, and a cause that I could really sort of embrace. So when we started talking about, again, as far as being black, I was back then they used to call us Oreos, black on the outside and white on the inside. So I kind of had that label certainly coming into school, into college. So I would say things like, yeah, dude, man, come on, dude. That dude was like, that was like, I almost ended everything I said with dude. Um, and so being part of that, learning some culture, learning some history, being very much part of sort of like the Pan-African movements and the things that were going on at the time. So you had South Africa, you had, just a lot of the social issues that were going on at the time.
Mhm.
There was sort of like a band of brothers that I started to belong to. And I was also a computer guy. So I was good because I would do all the advertising. So again, I found usefulness because I was one of the first guys. I had one of the first Apple Mac computers,
Oh,
Macintosh
wow.
computers, and so I got really good with doing graphics and desktop design. So I would do all the flyers, I would do all the bulletins, I would do the typing. I made money. To your point, I made money typing papers because I took a typing class in high school. I got up to about 70 words a minute on a typewriter. And so I was able to make money writing papers for people in college as well. Just money under the table. So again, the fact that I was being involved in different groups and organizations, the fact that I was using my skill sets in a way that helped me make money, that started to also turn around. And it was also the first time that I lived independently because I was on campus. Now, keep in mind, Rutgers, I'm from Highland Park, which is like literally 10 minutes from New Brunswick, where Rutgers campus is. I could literally walk to College Avenue from my house in about 20 minutes.
Oh,
But
nice.
what really made the difference, I lived on campus 3 out of the 4 years that I was there intentionally, even though it would have made all the financial sense in the world to commute. But the fact that I started to live independent, I lived in a dorm and everything that happened with dorm life. So especially freshman year it was like welcome to the world because again, Highland Park is it's a small town, it's a small Jewish town, very intimate. Everybody kind of knows you out there, and you don't have cast characters. You get to college and you meet every different type of personality. You meet every different type
That's true.
of person, lifestyle, background, cross dressers, people from the South, people from the North, people from different countries. It was just, and this was around the time. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a show that came on MTV called The Real World. I don't know if you
I
ever watched.
remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, one of the guys who was in the organization, the 100 Black Men with me, he was one of the first guys on the Real World. That
Oh,
came out
nice.
maybe a couple years afterwards or whatnot. But it was literally like that. It was like you got a bunch of people from all these different backgrounds living together. I mean, Thursday night frat nights. People would go out, come back smashed, throwing up all over the place. It was just, but it was the greatest time of my life because um, I was in a space where I didn't necessarily have to feel so incredibly isolated. It was an amazing time where I could just see how other people lived and how people, what different views and opinions of people were. And to this day, it's probably the most instrumental time, certainly one of the top influential times in my life, being away at school, even though my dad was 20 minutes away. And this adds also, just to go back a little bit, I started living with my dad at 14. So I was with my mom till about 13, 14.
Mhm.
My mom, she really hit rock bottom. She had to be institutionalized. That's at that point I lived with my dad. And my sister had to kind of pull him out of, he was kind of in his own stupor, had to pull him out in order to say, hey, you have a son who's in trouble. He needs you. You need to have a house. So it was him, my brother, my older brother, and him. And we got this apartment in Holland Park, and then we were there for like for years um, of being there. So that's really that transition started to take place then. But even though I was close to home, I never went home. I never called home. I was like the only time I went home was on holidays, but I literally I had to like isolate myself from that environment to get away from that environment to kind of start something new. And
Yeah,
so
curiosity now.
yeah,
Your buddy who was on Real World, I'm just curious now. Was it Kevin Power?
there you go. Yes, Kevin Powell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, very and we were shocked, like, because we would think he'd be like the last person who would be on that show, because he was he was a very different person back then. He was a much more angrier person back then. But the fact that he was on, it's like, yeah, what about us got on the Real World? So we were excited about it
It's kind of cool, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
when it happened. But yeah, it was a major time, and really, I think a lot of the things that we did in the organization, being the fact that I could say I was a part of certain programs, bringing major speakers and influencers to campus. I know a lot of guys in the BMU space. They always talk about Shahrazad Ali. She wrote this book, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, and I'm the one who called her up and invited her to campus. We were brainstorming for ideas for like different events or whatnot. I met her. All right. I got on the phone with her. I talked to her manager. I talked to her agent. I negotiated the terms. When it came down to the program, that she actually tried to stiff us. That's another story in and of itself. So she's not the nicest person yeah, in the world, but that's another story. But I knew her, and at the height of the time, her book was like, it was like fire. Like if the internet existed back then, it would have been crazier. But it was a crazy experience back then. But being part of all these programs, actually contributing to something, really started to boost my confidence then. So by the time when I came out of high school, I was kind of I was kind of a mess. By the time I graduated college, I was starting to feel a lot better for myself. And then once I started my career in the computer field, that's when I think things start to turn around. To the point you made earlier was when you talked about basically you got to a point where, again, you were making money, you were doing certain things with your life, and people were looking at you, and you were saying other people weren't doing what you were doing. And I kind of had that realization also, where it was like where I was at my age when, you're talking about 22, 23, 24. A lot of the guys and girls who were in my mind that were ahead of me, I was starting to pass them in a lot of different respects. And that I had a career. I was able to live independently. I bought my first condo at 20. I was 25. Bought my first condo, and like nobody in that group, all those cool kids, all those folks who thought they were bigger and badder or whatnot, they were either still living at home, uh, and not really had a lot going on. So then that starts to change again the perception I started to have of myself, to say, hey, I'm starting to. I was the guy who might have started in the last row of the race, but over time, I started to accelerate. I started to pass people. I started to go from last pole position through the ranks up to up. So that really started to dial me in. But I still had issues. In even in my mid 20s, there was still trying to find who I was. Like I wasn't very popular with the girls. I mean, you talk about girls were looking at you. No one checked me. That was another thing. No one checked me in high school, and really no girls really checked me in college either. Again, I was very skinny. I looked like if you Google like Jimmy Walker or JJ from Good Times. I don't know if you ever saw that show, but I was as thin as Jimmy Walker, and
Okay.
and again, girls were just like he's Paul. I was like the constant friend. I was
That was
friend.
my
I
issue
can't
too.
tell you the amount of times I was in the friend zone or friend zoned. Paul, you're such a nice guy, but man, you're so skinny. I mean, that was just like the line that was there. Or if I did get some with someone, she definitely wasn't the you were talking about. You were getting tens. I wasn't getting tens.
I
I
got
was
one
getting
tennis instead. My first
okay,
one.
okay, but still, at least you got one.
Yeah.
I was looking to get. Can I get a five here? Can I? So again, the girls that I did hook up with, they weren't necessarily in the upper range, most desirable either. But it was better. It was better than nothing. So again, but even in my 20s, trying to so I got established in my. I had a setback though, where when I was at 23, I was in a major auto wreck. I mean, major. I
Ooh.
mean, I got head-on collision, and the kid who hit me was actually a 16-year-old kid who stole a car from Newark Airport, and so there was a
Figures.
cop chase that was going on. He hit me head on. He died at the scene, and so that was a major thing. But they had to use jaws of life to get me out and whatnot. So I had a lot of injuries that I had to heal and recover from. And not to drag it out too much, but I think that's also where you talk about you grew up in a Greek Orthodox religion, even though you might not have been as closely united with it as you are now. I had no real religion. I mean, my mom, she would take me to church or whatnot, but I didn't understand what was going on. Like the video that we saw on Tuesday night with the pastor dancing like that or whatever. We would kind of go to some churches like that. I didn't know what was going on. It's like this is weird to me. This is like I don't know what they're saying. The preacher would jump up in the pulpit, or he would jump up in the pews and the chairs or whatnot, and just doing all this crazy stuff. And I was like, I just wasn't feeling. I just wasn't getting it. But it was at that time though, after the accident, as I recovered, that's when I became a Christian. That's when I really accepted faith. I was really because I was asking myself, why am I still here, but the 16-year-old kid isn't? And I still started to ask myself these questions about that, and people just started to minister to me and whatnot. And I finally made a decision. This is in 1994. I became a Christian then. And that also, I think, was a major in terms of helping me understand more in terms of who I was and that there was a purpose for me being here and fleshing that out. A couple years later, I met my wife. We got married. Had a family again. Bought a bigger house. It started to excel more in my career. So again, it was like sort of this this slow journey for me. Really, I didn't really get into my comfort zone. You were good in that you got it much younger. You got it like in your late teens and into your 20s. I probably didn't really get comfortable with myself until I got into my 30s and possibly even before I hit 40, when I really started to really feel really good about myself. The other thing that probably would also help me out along the way that happened again in my early 20s, I got serious about the gym. Actually, later, I'd say probably 20. So my daughter was, so I got married at 27. My daughter was born at 30. So yeah, it was 30. At age 30, again, I told you how skinny I was. Now, when I graduated college, I'm 6'3". When I graduated college, I was 147 pounds. When I got married, I was about 158 pounds. Still pretty thin. But right after my daughter was born, that's when I got into the gym and like stayed there. I flirted with the gym a couple years prior. I really didn't stick with it. I didn't have any discipline with it. I bought Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, so that was like the first major. So I had that
I have
giant,
one too, actually.
yeah. So I had that giant volume, and so I played with it for a while. I mistakenly I followed the program to the T the first workout, and I was like sore for weeks after that. I just couldn't handle it. It was like talk about overtraining. I think especially for an ectomorph frame like mine, it was like, well, no, that was the wrong approach. I should have took it a lot lighter. But once I got into the gym for real, um, that also changed it because then I started to really build my body. So again, going from 158 to 165 to 175, 185. And the thing about it was at every turn, like I always used to say, okay, I just want to if I get to 175, I'll be good. I'll stop there and I'll be happy with 175. But then
Mhm.
I realized that once I get to 175, it wasn't so much about getting to 175. It was about the goal of getting to 175. You know what I'm saying? It's the pursuit. I talked about this on the Tuesday night show. The pursuit of happiness. It's the pursuit of the goal that really was what made it all worthwhile. So again, the training, the adding on, eating the extra protein, the protein shakes, hanging out with the guys at the gym, seeing my body transforming, seeing my clothes start to change, and because back, I remember when I graduated college again, being thin, I couldn't find a suit. I was a 38 long, which at the time you had very few people who could find a 38 long suit. I'm 6'3". I'm a 30. If I put a 40 on, the suit's baggy on me. Even the 38 suit, they had to tailor it in to get it to fit properly. So again, very But now that I'm starting to put the weight on, I'm starting to see the definition. I'm starting to see now I can buy nicer clothes. Now I can buy clothes that fit. Now I can have more choices in terms of what I would able to garner, what I would able to get. So again, so the process of me going through the training. So for me, training is as much mental as it is spiritual as it is physical. And that was, I think, when I discovered training, that's when I really started to get good with myself, and then realized that people wouldn't, because I would train with people, and I would actually I became a personal trainer. I got a certification in training also. I would train people,
Mhm.
and I would realize that even the guys you know who were bigger than me or more muscular, they couldn't train like I trained. You know what I mean? I'd be like, hey, come train me. Nah, man, you too serious, you too hardcore. I was doing high intensity. I was hit training, Arthur Jones type of training. That's what I do. They were like, nah, I can't handle that. So you would have guys used to benching 315. I would say, hey, you know what? Do 160, we'll do 150, 165, but do it in a slow and controlled motion. They couldn't do it, but they refused to do it and they were left. So I was like, wow. It's like, hey, you're you got all those muscles or whatnot, but you don't want to, you can't handle this. It's like, no, because their egos was like, no, I got to be able to bench 315. And and
That's
and
what I
so
keep telling people, it's not how much you bench, is your technique.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But again, those are things that at the time. Now, again, when I'm looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm watching Pumping Iron, I'm watching those guys. They're like, man, these are big guys lifting big weights and all that. And then, Arthur Jones comes around and says, look, you don't have to lift all that heavy weight, you know, or throwing it around and doing momentum. Hey, do it in a slow and controlled fashion. And again, I got such positive gains from that and growth from that. Since graduating from high school, I've gained about 70, almost 80 pounds, and it's very little fat that's associated with that. I mean, it's pretty solid over time. And as I've gotten older, now I'm in my 50s. When people was like, "Man, you're 50 plus," it's like, yeah, So again, so the journey for me compared to yours was a lot longer. Like I wish that I could have been more confident with myself at the ages when you were in your mid-teens and when you're early 20s. It took me a lot longer to get to where you were at. But I think for anyone, regardless of where you're at, I think where you um the bottom line is you still need to get there. You have to get to a point where you start to accept yourself and not live for other people, and not live to necessarily please, whether it be whatever culture that you come from, or what with your family situation, what the society is saying, what this is what you need to be. You need to be the best version of yourself. And I think, for me, the goal became becoming a better version of myself, not someone else. And once I got to the point where I can really start to appreciate myself, I remember when I was 40, I was talking to my pastor one time, and I told him at the time, say, I'm really starting to feel better about it, like really embracing who I was as a person. This was I'm like 40 years old, and I'm finally starting to say, hey, I'm proud of the person I've become. I'm proud of in all aspects of my life, how I've grown spiritually, how I've grown physically, mentally over that course of time. But so many people are still living to please others, or so many people are really trying to um, be a version of themselves that sort of fits.
Hmm.
And for some of us, you just got to come to a point where you have to accept who you are. And I think when you get to that, then I think it draws. Like, I get more attention now than I ever did, certainly in my 20s or in my teenage years. You got it a lot, like I said, you got a lot earlier than I did, but you got to get there. So I think there's a black wolf, I think, at a lot of different people, but we never awaken it because we're still, trying so hard to sort of fit into what the cultures say. So again, the gray area that I'm seeing here for both of us, we had to take, again, we haven't ostracized ourselves from again, we love our families, we love our people, we love our cultures, we love what, what they provide in history, the rich histories that they provide for us. But we're also, we're comfortable in our own skin. And I think if anything, if someone's going to be that gray, that black wolf, you have to be able to come to that realization. So I've been long stroking for a minute here. I just want to get
No,
all
you're
that
good,
out. So,
brother.
so you
I can't
can you
always
can
I
you
cannot
can
always
you
talk,
can take
Mike.
it
I
from
can't be
there.
always at attention of everybody. Once in a while, you gotta be at attention. Um, I will not say I was always comfortable in my own skin, but I was comfortable who I am. That's one thing it took me longer to understand because I was always, in karate.
Mhm.
I was not really a big sports guy. I was a little bit basketball. I was a little changed, but I never stuck
Sure.
to anything. But when I got into the gym, when the weight bug bit me was
Yeah.
okay. Now it's different.
Yeah.
Now I see a difference. Yeah, I remember when I was actually focusing, like people were like, "Wow, you're losing weight." I'm like, "Yeah." Now people cannot tell I'm losing. I lost 20 pounds already. People don't can't tell now anymore because of the beard that takes away from your face.
Mhm. You lost 20
But
pounds when?
recently,
Recently? Since so because I don't always get a chance to watch your dailies and whatnot. But so you started a fitness journey. I
mhm.
did see you posted something recently, but you've lost 20 pounds since when?
I want to say about 3 months now.
3 months, 20 pounds.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's the goal? So are you trimming down to bulk up? What's the plan?
The goal right now is just lose my gut and eventually get shred it and maybe they go back up and put some weight on it. Um, I was gonna do this, myself, but I ended up hiring one of my buddies who's a coach, not a
Mhm.
trainer, a coach.
Right.
He doesn't think I need a trainer anymore, a coach. Just help me guide, kind of like break it down stuff, and
Right.
that's where we're working on right now.
Right.
That's why he does a push and pull. That's his thing more.
Yeah.
He's getting a little frustrated because it's very hard to get me sore because again, I've been doing karate and all this stuff over the
Right.
years.
Right. Right.
It's very hard. He goes, he's trying to break the code to see what makes me sore. And
Mhm.
usually what makes me sore is like doing like a old school bodybuilder workout, like doing chest one day, doing back one day. He goes and like
Right.
he doesn't
Right.
like those kind of workouts because if you miss one day, you're screwed for the rest of the
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
Mhm.
So he's trying to break the code. But ever since that bug bit me, I have been a different person.
Yeah.
I love going to the gym now. It's
Yeah, it's same here. And like I
yeah.
said, I remember, um, it's probably 96, 97. Like I said, I bought the condo, and I went and I bought me a ton of like weight. So I got me a bench. I got like,
Mhm.
300-pound dumbbell set. Barbell set. I got the power block, stackable dumbbells. I got me a set of those, and I was just ready. By 3 or 4 months in, you couldn't see it because I had clothes all over it. I just really didn't. I was living by myself. I didn't have a trainer. I didn't have any, but I didn't have sort of that internal motivation. But I think what helped me out is when I joined the gym. And I joined there was a local New York sports club right around the corner from my house. And back then, Again, this is like the late '90s. It was like $70 a month. Now, definitely not your Planet Fitness $10 a month or $30 a month. Now, but that was important because the fact that I was spending $70 a month, it made it valuable. Like for me, if I had to pay back then, if there was Planet Fitness for $10 a month, I don't think I would have joined or would have gone much because I didn't value it. But the fact that I had to spend that money every month, my thing was I'm going to go as often as I can. So paying that extra money really was like a motivator. And then once the bug happened, and especially where it really took in was I also had to give up. So I had to give up basketball. Like even though I wasn't great at basketball, I got good at again. Everything kind of came late for me. I got kind of good at basketball later. I dunked a basketball legit on a 10-foot rim after college. I couldn't dunk in high school. I couldn't dunk all those years in college, playing intramurals and just going to the college ave gym just to
Hmm.
play pickup basketball games or whatnot. It was after college that I could dunk a basketball with some regularity. So you're talking about like a late bloomer that so it got good there. So I thought I was okay at basketball, but I had to give it up because I just had my first kid and I was a consultant at the time. So again, I wasn't a salary employee. I had to, you got paid hourly. So my thing is I can't be out here playing basketball because there was an incident where somebody literally got hurt. We were playing just outside courts, normal night or whatever. Some guy goes up, this guy worked on Wall Street or whatever, went up, came down. He went one way, his ankle went the other. Had to get the ambulance out, all that stuff. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore, because I got a kid now, and it's like I can't be out here taking these risks just with the job I had. So I gave up basketball. Now, when I gave up basketball, so I was working out and playing basketball. But when I stopped playing basketball, all my energy went into the gym. And that's when it stuck. And I got the bug and I never got off it. And it's been, like I said, but it's been a major contributor um, to my overall well-being, not just the physical, like I said, the mental, overcoming barriers, pushing through obstacles, training when you don't want to train, but thankful that you did train despite that you didn't feel like getting up and training that day. What it did for you, your mentality in terms of in your workplace. Again, a lot of the guys that I work with, interestingly enough, I don't work with a lot of fit guys or bodybuilder guys. I don't. I work with most of the guys IT, Asian Indians who've never worked out a day in their life. But the great thing about it is, one, they're great students because it's like if you don't, sometimes it's like I'm sure you've seen this, like people who, if you've been in something like someone had come from a martial art, right? If you think that your martial art is it, you try to show them something different. Sometimes you have to they have to unlearn in order to learn.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I say that
Same
all the
thing with
time.
guys who work out or guys, if you're used to a certain way of training or whatever, it's hard to, you spend so much time trying to break them out of the habit to the point where to say, hey, let's try something different. With those guys, since they never train, it's like whatever I tell them, they just do it. They just do it.
So, from my experience, even martial arts, even weightlifting, when I try to help somebody, um, there's a pushback always. I'm
Yeah.
like, listen, I'm like, you know what? I don't have to help you. I tell them that because I do this for free. I can walk away whenever. I remember one of my buddies, we were out at Powerhouse, and he showed up a little late. He just happened to be there. They're not planned it out.
Right.
He goes, yo, can I jump in with you? Yeah, of course. He goes, and I was doing a bench. He goes, tweak your hands a little, put on a 45, it'll be better. It hit the angle a little better. I go, ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna listen to him because he's shredded. He's 250 pounds. He body lifts because he loves doing it.
Mhm.
But my pushback with you, Paul, is you were scared to get hurt playing basketball, but you can get hurt in the gym too.
True. But my calculus at the time was, again, at least in the gym, I have a lot more control over what I do. Basketball, there's 9 other guys. You can step on a guy's ankle. You can go up for a layup, come down the wrong way. It's such a more
Physical.
dynamic sport. And like I said, at the time, it was like literally I was making good money as an IT consultant. But again, it was like if I miss an hour of work, I lose $50 or whatever the rate was at the time. So I just felt like I couldn't take those kind of risks playing pickup basketball games every night. No one's paying me for this or whatever. But in the gym, I got more control over the apparatus that I'm doing. I just need someone just to show me some basics, some of the ropes, some of the whatever's, and then I could take it from there. So I signed up for some sessions initially, with the trainer to show me, okay, this is how you do things or whatever. I can use machines. I don't have to necessarily use free weights or dumbbells. I can use machines, so I just thought that there was to be a lot more control in a gym. And I've never had a training injury. All of if I got an injury, it was like one time I dropped you always have the thing where you drop a plate on your foot or your toe or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
or when you're sliding the weight back on the rack and your finger gets caught in the in fact, this finger here, I had a deep slash here, putting the weight back. So I mean, you get common things like that, but I've never had like a tear or something like that, or anything that I can recall from the workout itself. If I got an injury,
See,
it typically was from somewhere else.
my first injury in the gym was somebody recommended me taking pre-workout. Never took pre-workout before. And he told
C4.
me try Hemorrhage, the strongest
Oh,
stuff at
yeah.
the market at the time.
Right.
I go, okay, whatever. It's not. So what is Quebec is? I didn't like the greediness, but I
Mhm,
drank it,
mhm.
and I was working out. I was going. I'm like, I had like, I think it was like 345 plates. I'm doing rolls. Oh.
Mhm.
And next day, I felt great. I had a nice pump and everything. Right.
Yeah.
Next day, my arms are locked up like this. I'm like, the hell's going on here? I can't move my fucking
Yeah.
arm.
Yeah.
So I just grab the bar and like just stretch them out. You know, I couldn't figure it out. So what my buddy Richie goes, what the hell's going on? I'm like, dude, I can't move my arms. He goes, you gotta, the guy goes, you got a good pump. That's why. I'm like, I don't think it's a pump. I'm like, if this is a pump, then I don't want this shit.
Right.
He starts going on feeling my arms. He goes, you have knots in there, dude. You're locked up. You gotta get it.
Mm.
I'm like, and
So
then,
you need a therapist, something to work those out. Yeah.
yeah, my girlfriend, my mom, we literally one arm on the other one is
Wow.
working on me. I'm like, I'm getting crucified here.
Yeah.
But I have some injuries too from doing it but nothing crazy injuries, like small injuries, like a shoulder's pitching or tennis elbow kind of thing, like so I can rehab myself really
Mhm.
fast.
Yeah.
But they do happen, believe it or not. I've seen people get hurt pretty bad.
Mhm.
But again, most of them are being goofballs that are not taking it seriously
Mm.
too. So most of my injuries, I would say, are in martial arts, but it's a physical sport. That's why I haven't got back into it. Also,
Right.
is every time I talk to, I always want to learn. Like that, and anybody else knows that.
Mhm.
But I haven't picked up a different style yet because the first question I always ask them, "Am I going to get maggled here? I can't afford that. Be out of work.
Mhm.
I get hourly.
Mhm.
If I don't
Yeah.
get paid, I don't get work."
Same where I was. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they go to me like, "Oh, things happen." So I'm like, "No, you're the instructor. You're the head instructor. You're the sensei. You make it not happen. Simple."
Mm. Do
Well,
you do you still do, I don't know if in the arts that you've studied,
mm,
are there forms or katas
yep. I
or
done katas. I done forms. I done sparring. I done weapon katas, empty hand katas. I
right.
done conditioning. I done it all.
Right. But I'm saying, but those are things you can do on your own.
Oh yeah,
Right. So I'm
if
saying,
I had the room,
are
yeah.
those things that you do, or you're just kind of like out of it?
I'm completely out of this point because look, this is how big. This is what I have. I don't have anywhere to practice. You know what I'm saying?
Go to the
I'm like,
park, go outside.
yeah, you get one, but you forget I work a lot of hours too. That's the other problem too.
True that. Yeah.
So like I went to work around what was it 9:30? I didn't
Mm.
get done to 8.
Yeah.
So
Man.
so I go to the gym and then I'm done for the night. And then I come and
Yeah.
do my videos and I edit it and I go to bed.
Yeah.
So you get to a point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually I will get back into it.
Find the
Not
window.
if I get
Yeah.
back. I will get back into it eventually.
Right.
The schedule doesn't fit. And that's what my other problem because I work nights. Most classes are already done by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I'll find a school eventually.
Right.
But that's my one question. I don't want to get mangled. not happening. That's my was one thing I was very proud. I had one injury over the years. It wasn't really an injury. I had two brothers sparring, and the one brother caught the younger brother in the solar plex, and he went down as like a sack of potatoes.
Mm,
So he was crying again. I can't go baby him. I'm going like, dude, get up, get up and fight. Simple as that.
yeah.
Because if somebody's you fight on the street, he's not gonna stop because you got solar plex and you're crying.
Right.
That's facts.
Right.
But I do miss it. I'm not gonna lie. I do miss martial arts.
Yeah. Hopefully again, the window will open up, but that'll come back again. You gain so much from it, and it's
Mm.
still it's still there. But I wanted to go back to
Hmm.
again this topic that we're talking about being the black wolf. And one thing I literally just thought about as you were speaking, the benefits of being a black wolf. Um,
There's so many.
yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I can start it off in that in a lot of ways I'm still a black wolf because I still think independently. Um, a lot of times people try to put labels on you in terms of
Hmm.
your identity, your politics, your religious views, or what have you. And over time, I've just come to understand that I'm much more better off. In fact, we had a show a couple of weeks ago on the Tuesday Talk, and woman was asking something to the effect of, "Well, how do I know that you have like the values that I want? You say you're a Christian or whatever. So how do I know that?" And I said that really, what you need to do is ask, not what Christianity is or what the Christian view is. Ask me what I believe. And I think over the years, I've studied a lot of people, a lot of different disciplines. I would call myself at one point. I think I'll call myself like an evangelical Christian at one point or whatever. Um, and it's to the point now where I don't think I have a label. Now I worship at an African Methodist Episcopal church, but I don't consider myself to be one of them. That's just the place that I worship. um, when it comes to again my political views. Most people may assume that I'm a liberal of some kind, um, but really, I don't go off of labels. I have views on certain things. If you ask me a policy question, like what do you think how this should be handled, or what's your views on this? For me, that's a better question. But to be put into a box to say, okay, well, because I'm this, because I'm black, yes, again, I am an ADOS member because that's just historic. That has nothing to do with necessarily my position, so to speak. That's just where I come from. I'm an American descendant of slavery. Again, my ancestors came to this country so far, and it keeps going back. It's like 1745 was when my first ancestors came here. That's just history. That's just what it is. But do I necessarily align with everything that's considered like what's the black movement or whatever? Not necessarily. Doesn't mean that I don't certainly advance or look to advance the cause of my people. So I think for me, still being the black wolf or the black sheep or whatever you want to call me, it allows me to develop my own independent thinking where I don't necessarily have to go with the crowd. So you see me in these spaces, like more times people say, "Oh, you're balanced." Right? People can get reheated in discussions and whatnot. So okay, well, Mr. Bennett, what do you think? And I try to kind of be centered because again, I can take from everybody, or I try to learn from everybody and say, "Hey, these guys got a point, and these guys got a point." But for me, it goes back to that Bruce Lee philosophy. Absorb what is useful, discard what is useless,
Hmm.
and add what is essential to your own. The idea of, again, you know, I'm sure you see it in martial arts also. There is, the what is the way, the tay, so to speak, um, that is right for everyone, or there might not be something right for everyone. So, the goal, I think everyone to an extent should become a black wolf in that you should be able to learn how to think independently and not just repeat talking points that have been given to you. You need to be able to decide on your own and come to your own conclusion on things. And again, you may agree with the majority on times, and sometimes you won't. But I think part of being a gray wolf is you come into that understanding of who you are, what you value, what you believe and are passionate about and willing to defend, and you can talk about intelligently. Because I see a lot of people, especially in these spaces, it's like you can tell they're simply repeating what they call YouTube talking points. But is it something that you've actually fleshed out on your own? So for me, the benefit of being one of the benefits is to be able to think independently, um, and to really to develop yourself, your own identity as a person. Again, doesn't mean you're not connected. But I choose to connect with certain people, with certain causes, with certain ideology. I choose. But again, if they go in a direction, like I said, with my church, there's things I don't agree with. Even in my church, even though it's in the bylaws, it's in the whatever, it's like, yeah, I understand you guys say that, but I think differently. But this is why I think differently. Now, it doesn't mean that, okay, well, unless I follow all the tenets and dictates 10 toes down, if you want to say, okay, I can't be here, well, then I'll bid you good day.
I can relate. I can
But
relate 100%.
the fact that I add value, and that's going to be the second part. I'll let you cook, and I'll come back to this. But the second part of that is adding value. But start with that. The benefits of being a gray wolf, a black wolf, and how how that made you a better person, and some of the benefits that you get from that.
So when most people were playing sports, watching boxing, martial arts wasn't really a big thing back then.
Mm.
I was in martial arts. I
Mm.
always loved it.
Mm.
So love it to this day. And my instructor always said to me, "Is 500 ways to do a shudo, a karate chop. If you don't know what that means, we gotta find the right technique for you. We can do the straight coming out, curl fingers, thumb in. We got so many different ways, but we gotta see if they even works for you. The one technique, spinning hook kick or spinning side kick, they weren't really my. I love how they look. They're great techniques.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not strong with them. My
Right.
kicks are not that strong with them because you're not gonna do a spin kick. One, they're illegal for a reason. They're
Right.
flying techniques. Not
Mm.
illegal, but illegal techniques in a tournament.
Right.
Because if you can't see where you're going behind you, they don't want you using it because you can really hurt the other person.
Right.
So you just go around that. The day I was one day in church, it was pretty recent actually. I realized, and that was right before I chopped my hair off and donated it, and they reblow my beard. I'm looking, I'm like, I'm the only guy here that has tattoos, exposed tattoos, of course, at least.
Yeah.
A full ass beard, 3.5-inch beard with a 16-inch ponytail. I go, I am definitely unique here. And the thing I was gonna say before, like, agree that I don't agree with him in the Bible. Father Costantino knows this very well. I remember when they were talking, it was during my confession. He goes, "Well, Peter, yada yada." He goes, "Like, I don't agree." He goes, "Excuse me, I don't agree."
Right.
And he was taken back and like, "Are you serious about that?" Like, yeah, I don't have to agree with everything the Bible says. I can question it. And he was shocked because he never heard a Greek say that. Most Greeks are like, "Yes, Father. I'm sorry, Father. Yes, Father." Oh, this. I'm like, yeah. Oh no, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
And me and Father were talking in video chat one day, and I was talking to him, and I go, "Father, I'll be straight up with you. When you're not around, I fucking curse like crazy." He goes, "Well, Peter, at least you're honest about it."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
but
That was a concern going to him when we had the show. We talked a little before the show started. That it's like, okay, look, dude, we gotta keep this very high. Father's gonna be here. Whatnot. So you were like, yeah, so I know I curse. Just stop. Just call it out. Yes, I know I curse a lot or whatever. But you were very good that night. You kept it 100%. You were in your best behavior that night. I appreciate
for once.
Yeah.
Listen, if I get $1 every time I'm good then.
Yeah. That was a very profitable night for you.
Oh yeah. Oof. Okay, I had Jesus on my over. His hand was like here. He goes, "Okay, Peter, you're good." I'm like, I caught myself like, like, like I love when you catch yourself, but but he knows I do things like he doesn't agree with.
Yeah.
And like tattoos are not agreed by the Bible. They say don't scar your body. Well, he goes to me, "Well, Peter, don't get any more." He goes, I'm like, "It's not happening." He goes, "Excuse me? It's not happening. I'm getting more anyway." He goes, "Don't shove it up." No. Like I don't know the sentence. I cut it right off. He goes,
Mhm.
"You know I'm your priest." Like, yep. And he goes, and you know you have to listen. No, I don't have to listen to everything you say, Father. Sorry.
Mhm. Right.
And that was makes. I think that's one benefit I love about. I don't want to say it's an orthodox thing. Maybe is Father Cosadino specifically.
Mhm. Mhm.
He'll let you question things. I have an
Yeah.
open mind.
Yeah.
You might not agree with it. We can agree to disagree,
Right.
and it's okay. But again, I have that open mind,
Mhm.
and that's what I think I have different about most people. And you're in that category too, because you might see that and like maybe I can do that better, or let me question that, or let
Yeah.
me ask questions about that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
People
not
are
at all.
scared to ask questions.
Yeah.
I tell my brother all the time. I ask him questions all the time.
Mhm.
I call him, his name's Bob. I call him Grandpa Bob. Just to piss him off.
Mhm.
I'm like, Grandpa Bob. He goes, "What do you fucking want?" I'm like, "Why do we do this?" He goes, "I said so." Like, all right, I'm not doing it then. He goes,
Right.
"Excuse me, I'm not doing it. If you don't tell me,
Right.
get out your fucking office and tell me why we're doing it." He goes, "Comes all crumpy." Like, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Right.
Simple.
But what's
Simple
even
question.
worse is bad not to ask questions, but what's even worse is um, people don't have and I wouldn't even say it's not that people don't have the answers, but they're afraid to admit that they don't have the answers.
Yeah.
Like I tell guys all the time, it's like the best thing you could probably say if you don't know something that says, you know what, I don't know. It's so easy. It takes all the pressure, whether you be you have the collar on or whatnot. There's certain things like, hey, I don't know. Now I can research it. I can go and look into that, and now maybe I can get back to you with the perspective. People ask me all the time. Like I said, I teach Sunday school in my church. I teach the adults, and people may ask me a question, and I'm like, I don't know about that one. Especially, and I love working with the kids. I love working with the not the kids, the teenagers. Um, I did a back in the day. I did a college class for a Bible study, and I did a high school class Bible study, and I loved it. It was one of the best things I ever did because the kids like they're at the age where they're starting to ask questions as to like why. Like up to that point, especially Sunday school, when they're 5, 6 years old or whatnot, it's about singing songs. Yes, Jesus loves me. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. It's all that's tradition, all that stuff. But once they start getting teenagers, then they start looking around. They start asking, well, why do we do things that way, or why do we do this, or why do we do that? And the nice thing, also, getting into again the black wolf thing is because I'm not married to a particular thing, I don't have to necessarily defend it with the ferocity that other people defend it. So I will always be asked, well, why do we do these things in the church this way? And I can simply say, because somebody maybe a couple 100 years ago thought this was a good thing to do, and they just decided to keep the tradition going. But it has no lasting value in terms of your faith or not. I could say that because I'm not married to, and this is also in my church. I keep going back to this one because this is, I think, I'm in a lot of ways I'm a gray wolf. I mean, a black wolf. I keep saying gray because
The shit.
the show is a gray area, but um, I don't belong to necessarily any organization. I used to be a steward in the church. I used to be, which is basically like a deacon. I used to be, just different functions, and I got to a point where I just pulled away from all of that. And the reason why was because, in part, it's like when you're married to it, you got to take everything that comes with it. And I've never been that type of person. If something's wrong with how something is done, I'm like, I'm not doing that. The pastor might be putting pressure on, hey, this is what you do. This is your role. This is what you're supposed to do. I'm saying, no, I'm not doing that. So I pulled away from a lot of organizations. I don't really belong to a different organization, but I choose what I want to do. So yes, I'm head. I teach the Sunday school on Sunday because I choose to do it, and from what everyone tells me, I'm pretty good at it, and there's benefit from it, and also no one else better wants to do it, so I do it, and no one really pushes back or questions me on how I do it. So it works for me in that but if someone asks me a question that there's like a talking point, like I said, we got this book of discipline and it has all these
Mm-hmm.
tenets and articles of religion, and it's like very detailed and laid out. I can look at it. I could tell a teenager says, "Yeah, that's in there," but you know, doesn't mean that you're bound to it. And a lot of stuff it says it may have it may be an AME thing, but in terms of your personal walk and relationship with God, it's probably not going to matter much in the end of the day. I could
Mm.
say that because I'm not married to it. You know what I'm saying? So again, my independence allows me to be more truthful. It allows me to be more, and honest. It allows me to, if I do decide to do something, I do it with more passion, not because of, I don't do it because of titles. I don't need a title at this point. I can just be myself and give all of myself to whatever it is that I'm doing. So again, being that black wolf, being that independent self has a lot of benefits. And then what also happens is, in fact, even in the Apostle Paul talks about this. He came into it like, obviously he's being a Jewish person, but from his vantage point, him being a Christian frees him from a lot of obligations of his Jewishness. Doesn't mean that he doesn't acknowledge that he's Jewish, but he's allowed to be whatever he needs to be. I can become all things to all people. So if I'm going to be hanging out with some Gentile people, I don't have to wear my Jewish hat. I can just be whoever that group needs to be, to be. But if I go with another group of people, I can be something else. So I'm willing to be whoever I need to be for the cause of the gospel. So again, the fact that he's not married or anchored into, the only thing that he was anchored into was the gospel itself and Jesus himself. Everything else is on the table. So I can be Jewish one day, I can be a non-Jew another day, but the goal is to win souls for Christ. And that is something, again, that idea of being not so constrained by a title that says you must do things this way. No, I can say, no, I can do it what I feel is the right way to do it. We can have a discussion and a conversation. And sometimes I can even say, hey, I don't agree with that, but here, this is my rationale and reason. Again, the fact that I choose to do things, I can expound on why I think the way I think. And a lot of times the conclusion is, now I understand what you're saying. And in fact, sometimes I agree with you. Now that you've shown me this, now I can agree. Now I need to check how I think about something. But if I just play the role that because of this, this is how I'm supposed to act. It's like, no, I act because I think this is the right thing to do. And so again, sometimes not being so married to, again, whatever your religion is, whatever your politics is, if there's anything, if you're going to be grounded on anything, again, being grounded on what is right, what edifies people, and what ultimately helps people be better. So that's ultimately, those are like the principles that guide everything. But I can be, again, my independent self and still serve a bunch of people. I do trustee things, and I'm not even a trustee. But at any moment in time, I can be a trustee. But if I was on the trustee board, I would be bound to being a trustee. And that's limiting to me because I may want to do something else. It's like, you can't do that because trustees only do this. Fine. They need help over there. I want to help them. No, you're a trustee. I never wanted to have that kind of limitation on myself. So me being a black wolf, I can operate in a lot of different areas on a lot of different levels and be of service to a lot of different people without a title or would I feel I owe anybody anything? No, I only owe you my love. I do something because I say I'll agree to do it, but I may come to a point in time where I say I don't want to do this anymore. I have the freedom and flexibility to do that. And I think that makes me more valuable across the board from a lot of different people because I'm not limited in my thinking. So,
And that's the important thing because you're not tied to it. Let's make us different.
mhm.
You don't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to do it. You can be just you.
Yes, yeah, and that's a very powerful, I think, a message for people, to not think because you belong to whomever. Again, my blackness, for example, does not trump my humanity. So again, I'm proud to be black. I'm some people call me blackity black. So whatever that means. But yes, you know, I love my people. I want my people to prosper, but it doesn't trump my humanity. So again, I love everyone. I can have a conversation with you or any person. I'm not going to put my blackness above my overall humanity. But where there's a specific need of my people or my community or whatever, then yeah, I can speak to that because I'm a part of it. So again, some people say, "Oh, you either choose this, you got to be this way or this way. Choose." Or people say, "Oh, you're lukewarm because you're kind of in both worlds." No, I go into the world depending on the situation. Fluidity. The ability to adapt, the ability to assess the situation, the ability to listen. I mean, what I really like about this forum that we're doing is, again, it's an opportunity for people to listen. It's not to correct, it's not to challenge or whatever. It's just listen to different perspectives, try to find, again, the common area, the gray area that we can both sort of agree on.
And that's why I picked you more than anybody. I could have picked BMU. I could have picked Black David. I could have picked JT. I could have picked anybody. I picked you because we have similar causes.
Mm-hmm.
And from people who are new to this show, like Paul said, I don't use Paul's whole word. This is my baby. I came to Paul first, then I went to BMU, and then this bloomed to this beautiful flower, I call it. Not because I did anything wrong. I think we are doing a great job overall.
This has been very edifying. This experience, again, going into it, I didn't know necessarily what to expect from it, and how the conversations would go. I think we kind of had a skeletal outline, but we've been able to fill it in such a way that really has, that certainly brought, if anything, has brought certainly enhanced my understanding of a culture that I did not necessarily have a lot of background or experience with. Um, and it really also, again, allowed me to share more about myself, certainly with the community. Because a lot of times when you're on certain panels or whatnot, you're one voice of many, and sometimes you don't get a chance to flesh everything out. So I'm hoping that this has been as much a rewarding experience as well. But we got a
It
couple
is.
minutes left in the show.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to go back and, again, as far as the chat, thank you for everyone who's been watching with us tonight. Again, we understand that, again, Sunday night, we got stuff to do. We get ready for work in the morning, so we appreciate you
Wait,
guys
he
going
has
on. I
work
just want
tomorrow?
to, yeah, man, yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know
It
that.
start it's it starts to work week again.
I'm
But I
actually
just
on a.
want to go
I'm.
back and,
I'll be honest with you. I'm on a marathon. My last day off was Wednesday.
oh
I
my
won't get a
gosh,
day off to Saturday again.
oh my gosh, oh
I
my
did that on
gosh.
purpose because I want to go to that event I text you about.
Okay, yeah, and I should be available. I was checking with my wife yesterday, so I think we should definitely be able to hook up. And that may be cool also. I don't know if we could do some sort of live from there, but or take some videos or something, but that'd be pretty cool if we could.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna bring my GoPro at least and my phone.
Yeah,
So figure out what we can do. And like, so look out for us. We might meet some
we
celebrities.
might. Yeah, we might be
Call me
dropping a lie.
crazy. People
Right,
have looked at me like I have 20 different heads.
right.
I'm gonna try to get them on the hangout. These guys.
Okay,
I know I'm
okay.
crazy, dude. I know I'm crazy, but I'm gonna try. Can't promise
That should
anything.
be fun. That should be fun. Yeah. But I
So
just want to take this minute just to again acknowledge people in the chat. Again, Joshua Jones. Again, thank you for joining us again tonight. Embrace the Grace. Thank you as always. I'm always getting her name for N.A. Kenya. I'm going to say that for now, but if I say that wrong, I apologize. Or if you can phonetically put it in there to make sure that I'm saying your name right. But thank you, because I know you've been on a lot of different shows. You've been following us here on other shows, and we just appreciate your support on the BMU network. Thank you for joining us tonight. Information Man. I feel very honored that you're here, sir, because I know the grind that, I mean, he has a show early on Sundays. He had, puts a lot of content. He was talking about this mayor who's been in the news as of late, has been doing some shiesty thing. So again, what I love about Information Man, he covers, look, if it's
everything.
newsworthy, he talks about it. So I really appreciate the grind and the work that he puts in to produce a quality product every week. So again, the fact that you decide to stop in and see us tonight, really appreciate you being here. TYE or Ty E. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. Our man, Our Pain, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Thank you for joining us tonight. Had a fun time
And
last night talking about Marvel and Disney, and have they destroyed the MCU and the other parts of it?
Star
What
Wars and
happened
stuff.
to yeah. So Star
But
Wars. So yeah,
I call him Chef Payne.
Chef Pain. Good to yeah. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. The Wife School Podcast. Thank you. I know you've been riding with us pretty strong. I see you also on many of grooming's podcasts. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. And as always, the show would not be what it is without the best moderator, arguably in YouTube, Lady Navoa. Again, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for always supporting us. Thank you for always working with the chat and contributing to our cause here. So we appreciate you so much for being such a loyal and a supporter of ours. Alexander X, again, thank you for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. You being here, and just this whole crowd. Again, this is something we didn't go into this saying. We would have like the biggest numbers or whatever, but we just wanted to have this space, and we're looking forward to seeing what we can come through from here. I think we're coming towards the end of I think that original run. So I may have a follow up with you to see where we take the show from here. I think we have a couple more sessions we're going to have in this first set, and then we'll come
That's
back
on
and
me
hit
because I
the
already
cycle.
have a couple ideas in my head.
Yep.
Before moving forward.
Yep.
I just haven't had the time to text you because I'm a
I
little
hear you. I hear you.
busy.
You've been working the grinding the hours too, but yeah, we're definitely going to be
Yeah.
communicating soon in terms of what the next shows are going to be like. But again, this has been rewarding, and again, what we're also looking for is we want to hear from other perspectives. I mean, this has sort of been an American, a Black American, Greek conversation, but I know we have brothers out there from Nigeria. There's other nationalities, other ethnicities that are out there. We would love to hear from your perspectives also in terms of how your society works, how marriage and relationships works. How is it
Yeah.
if you've been in America for a while? Have you been Americanized, so to speak, or assimilated? We'd love to hear some of your stories also about your people and how you've been able to navigate life being in this multicultural nation. So definitely looking forward to some shows in the future where we could get some Asians on, some Asian Indians on, some Arabs on. We want to, again, we want to hear from everybody, and in the pursuit of our common humanity. Because, like I said, there's black wolves in every ethnic group, in
I agree.
every culture that's available, and we need black wolves. Those are the ones who really challenge conventional thinking, start having people think in different ways, new approaches to things, new ideas, creativity. So again, we need black wolves. Again, we understand now. I do understand this. If everybody was a black wolf, it'd be chaotic. I think that most societies and cultures, will have relied on a set of values and certain traditions or whatnot that helps to grow things. I get that. Again, just like even with martial arts, all martial arts kind of has a base foundation. There's kicking, punching, trapping, footwork. There's a variety of different things that you kind of have to master before you can start to explore other things. So we have to understand we're not trying to remove culture or ban or whatever, but we're trying to see how, just given the different perspectives that we have, can we
So,
look at
be-
things from a different perspective. Yeah.
so before I forget, I checked the numbers just a minute ago on our show
Hmm.
on viewers. So that's what I guess I can actually. The best show we had so far was Father, because I know it's
Yeah.
52 views. Everything else,
Mhm.
we're between 25 and 30, we're getting
Right.
average, give
Right.
or take. That's not bad, to be honest with you, bro.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys, especially with the time slot, because this is like one of probably, if we came on earlier, which is hard for me, especially on a Sunday, because I'm always preparing, but
There's no way
like
for
a
me.
like a 6 o'clock slot, so we may even get more than that. But again, this is kind of like we're literally the bookend of the week. So the BMU Network essentially has content from Monday to Sunday, and we're sort of we close out the week Monday. Our man, our pain, he's going to have his show Monday night, marriage, politics, and sports. He's going to be here. Then you have the talk that talk Tuesday. I think they renamed it. I forget I think they have a new name for the show now, but it's with Lost in Translation and Black and BMU. They have a new format now, but with them we have a Wednesday night show with JT. We have the show with Dr. Nkumbe on Thursday nights, Friday night barbershop, and then Saturday. Like I said, I saw Alexis Texas. Alexis from Texas. She had a show on Saturday night. Her and a girlfriend, they were chopping up some things. I stopped there for a minute to see that show. Very good content. And then we also have Miss Jenny. A lot of times she'll have a show on Saturday nights also. So again, and then we sort of close out on Sundays. So again, so the BMU network is certainly fleshing out a variety of different programs from a lot of different people, different viewpoints, different ways how we see things. But we want to contribute positive content to a space where there's all kinds of beefs out there and just controversy just for controversy's sake. We want to have a positive platform that grows people and that people can learn from and be entertained, but also informed. So again, very grateful to be here tonight. I think I already kind of gave my closing thoughts, if you will. Peter, if you have something to close us out with, we can wrap up the show.
Oh man, what can I say? I agree. Everybody has a wolf in them. You gotta find it and release it.
Yeah.
Once you release it, you can be happy with yourself. If you think you have to hide what you really are, let's say you're a metalhead, you're an anime fan, you're into gunplay, you're into gaming, do it. Don't hold back. If you want to learn a new technique, go for it. If you want to learn a new job, it's scary, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Bring that wolf out.
All right.
Except
but
that
but important to just challenge yourself.
Yeah.
To be a different person. I mean, again, humanity, we need challenges. We need to grow. We need to be. Can you be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday or last week? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Continue to push yourself in that area, and again, you may find yourself being a much happier, more fulfilled person than just settling for, again, the status quo or what other people may have their expectations of you. So yes.
Also, quick plug in too. Guys, remember my streams are coming up. Wednesday is going to be how men be motivated, and I find a favorite topic for Saturday, Paul. You're gonna like this one, ready?
Okay.
Like historical movies are accurate or not? Yeah, give me credit.
That's a nice one.
Yeah,
that's a nice one.
And of course, next Sunday we're back here on the gray area between BMU and my channel. On a little side note, not sure when we start, but we're gonna add in a fourth, fourth day technically on my channel. We have a person who wants to be on it, so I'm actually very happy about it. And I'll let him free. And he's gonna run that channel, that show himself. So I have to keep it hush hush for now, but it's coming soon. I'll let you know in the back.
All right, appreciate it.
So, except that, you're good.
I am good. So again, I am Mr. Bennett. He is Grooming and Reviews, aka the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Paniotis. We had a great show tonight. This has been the Gray Area. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Peace. Okay, that's where you're supposed to hit it, David. Seriously, you pair asleep on me again? Come on, wake up.
Black David.
BMU, he's fired. I'm gonna do like a Vincent Mac. You're fired.
Yeah.
So when I went like that, he should have.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna sign off for now. But hopefully we get to outro soon. But yeah, we'll connect. Let's connect during the week when you have some time.
Definitely.
Okay, especially on Saturday, because it should be clear for Saturday. So we'll just work out the time and meeting place.
Are you coming by yourself, or are you bringing the missus too?
Probably myself.
Okay.
She's probably Saturday's pretty busy for her, so we get our grind on in the morning, work out and all that kind of stuff, and then we kind of go up and do our things and reconnect later. So yes, I'll be coming down solo most likely.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. All right, I'll see you next time.
Later, man. Bye.
Yep. All right.